Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, last session we learned about functions. So, we discussed about few points like functions, and we learned about function parameters. We have actual parameter, and we have formal parameters. Actual parameter and formal parameter. And we discussed that parameter can be any type. So we can have multiple parameters. So you can have one parameter or you can have multiple parameters. And parameter can be any type. Here in JavaScript, another point is after knowing about multiple parameters, there is another option called REST parameters. REST parameters, actually, it is new in JavaScript from ES6. From ES6, REST parameters is a new concept. REST parameter is nothing but one parameter can store multiple values. One parameter can store multiple values. So here REST is a syntax defined with dot and parameter name. Defined with dot and parameter. Actually, it is an array type. Array type means you can store one value. In one reference, you can store many values. Array type means one reference that can store multiple values. This is called REST parameter. REST parameter advantage is one parameter can handle multiple values. You see now here in this, how many parameters are there? 1, 2, 3, 6 parameters are there. Actually, having so many parameters is not safe for application. If parameters are there, then usually application leads to a concept called injection attacks. That means some technical issues will come. Anybody can easily hack your application. Hacking of application is done by passing values into parameters. That's the reason having many parameters is not good. To handle that issue, they introduced a technique called REST. REST means what? One parameter can handle all the arguments. That means now how many arguments we are passing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 arguments. First one is what type? Number. Second one is string. Third one is number. Fourth is, fifth is array. Sixth is object. Now all these 6 arguments can be handled by one parameter. Just what you have to do is here we need to remove all this and put dot and product something. This is called REST parameter. REST parameter means one parameter which stores all the arguments. Now, what is this product? Is an array type. In that array, these all are stored. Now tell me how to access 101. It is an array type. Then how to access 101? 101 is stored in this array. It is the first value. First value means it will be at index 0. That means product is an array type. That means it will be 0. That means what is the type of this is array type. Array type means what? This parameter name, it is array type. Array type means whatever arguments you pass, they are in the index number. We can access index number, or you remembered I told you destructuring technique. We learned array destructuring. In array, we have destructuring technique. By using the technique, we can easily access. What is array destructuring technique? Destructuring technique is nothing but you declare array variables. What are the variables? ID, name, price, another stock, another cities, another one rating, and is equal to product. Apply this array. That means in this array, the first value will be stored in ID, second value name, third value price. That means we are able to handle multiple values, but using only one parameter. Parameter is only one. And this one parameter can handle all. Now you can run this and see. When I run this, you can see the output. It will display same. It is going to display the output in a same way. But this time we are using a REST parameter. And into that we can pass multiple values. So syntactically, it will be like this. Function and function name, and here parameter name. And here what you can do whenever you call function, argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, like this, any number. All these are stored under one name. They are all stored in under one reference name. That is the REST parameters. Working. So these are REST parameters. So what is a REST parameter? A REST parameter is one parameter that can handle multiple arguments. So here I will give example, this one. But here some rules are there. What are the rules? Rules nothing but actually the rules here is, first important rule is every function can have only one REST parameter. Every function can have only one REST parameter. And REST parameter must be the last parameter in formal list. That's another one. That means suppose you return a function with a name and you given dot dot parameter 1 and again dot dot parameter 2, like this. This is invalid. That means function can have how many REST parameters? Only one. Another, we are giving function name and dot dot parameter 1 comma, suppose parameter 2. Parameter 2 is ordinary parameter, but this is also invalid. Why this is also invalid? This is also invalid because the REST parameter must be last. It must be last parameter. So after the REST parameter, you cannot have any another parameter. You can have other parameters before it, but it should be last. So what we do, we have function name. Here we have parameter 1 and your rest parameter can be second. So this is valid. You can define like this. That is okay. First parameters can be anything. More than one also you can write. But there can be rest parameter only as last. If anybody asks why it should be like that, it should be like that because rest parameter reads up to end. It is going to read up to end. That means after end, there cannot be anything else. That means it will read up to end. So it must be last. Why it should be last? Because it will read up to end. So you cannot have anything after it, right? So see here, I am writing like this. Suppose I am adding here, comma, title. Then it will show error. Error says that, in that error, it says that a rest parameter must be last. It must be last in parameter list. That means what you can do, you can use title here. You can use title before it. So before it, title. You can write like this. This title I will print here. Like product, this is title. I am printing the title here. Now what we have to do, we have to pass the title here. That means the title and rest values. Product details is the title. First one is title, all others are rest. All others are rest parameters. Now you can see it is going to print that product details and display. So what are the rules about rest parameter? Rest parameter can be only one and it should be last in the formal parameters list. That is another example. This is advanced. In advanced JavaScript, one new concept here is rest parameters. Another important advanced in JavaScript is, so that is spread syntax. Spread syntax, rest syntax and spread syntax. Spread syntax is nothing but, spread syntax means, so one actual argument can spread into multiple parameters. One actual argument can spread into multiple parameters. That means, for example, here we are having syntactically, suppose we have function name. In that we have ID, name and price. 3 parameters are there. Then how many arguments we need to pass? 3 arguments. But now you can pass one array argument. Now argument is only one. In that you can put ID, one, name, TV, another one, price. Like this we can pass. But as of now, these 3 will be passed in first one only. Then what we will do here, we will use ... That is called spread. This is called spread syntax. This is called spread syntax. If you don't use this ... before that array, this entire array will be stored in one parameter. What is that parameter? ID. But now what will happen? Now it is going to store 1 in ID, TV in name, and this in price. Reverse way, this is. Rest parameter, can you close? Rest parameter is informal and the spread is in actual. That means what you can have, one actual parameter can spread into multiple. So that means it can spread into multiple. So you can write like this now. Let's see. Here I am writing same. Suppose function. So details is a function. We have ID, we have name and price. Now we are printing document dot write. So here we are printing ID is equal to whatever ID, and name is equal to whatever the name, and price is equal to whatever the price. Now how do we pass them is we will use details. Into that you need 3 actually. Now we will pass one array in that ID and in that name and price. So only one argument is there, but it should spread into 3. Then what we will do? We will put dot dot dot. If you pass one more extra, it will not take. It will take only 3. Fourth one is ignored. Why it is ignored? There is no reference now. There is no reference. That means it will be ignored. It will not even print it, right? There must be a reference for that. Then only it can print, right? Yeah. So now you can see here, or suppose here there are 3 and you passed only 2. Now what it will print? Price. You are not passing a value, then it will obviously print undefined. Price will say undefined. Why undefined? There is no value supplied. You give extra value, it is ignored. We give any less values, it is undefined. How many are required? 3. How many need to be passed? 3. But this is only one argument spreads into 3. This is called spread syntax. That means now you can see it will display like this. We have rest and we have spread, right? So this is another example for that, how we can use a spread syntax. So in many interviews, this question is very common. What is difference between rest and spread? What do you say? How you will explain? Difference between rest and spread, how you will explain? In simple terms, how you will explain? Rest is about formal parameter, and spread is about actual parameter. That's it. Rest is about formal and spread is about actual. The rule is same here also. How many spread can be there? Only one, right? This is some advanced concepts of JavaScript that generally in interviews these days people ask, right? So what is spread and what is rest? Related to functions, this is important. Another important here is we have function return. We have another one is function return. The function return. What is a function return and how the function return works, right? What are the concept of function? Why you need a function return? Actually, every function by default is every function by default is void type. So what is the meaning of void type? Is it destroys the memory. It destroys the memory after using for function. It destroys the memory after using for function. Actually, void means Void means discard the return. So discard the return value. That is what actually void means. Discarding the return value means don't keep the value, delete it. After performing the actions, delete. Whatever activity is performed, after performing, it will delete. Now what return can do is, see, so what return can do is, so return keyword allows a function to keep its memory alive, so that it can store the value of function. So return keyword allows a function to keep its memory alive so that it can store the value of function. So that is the point. Here I will explain a small example. Generally, what is the example is, so you are writing a function syntactically. We are writing a function and function name. And after that, we are using return and we are using some value. Now, what does this means? This means, for example, what does this means is, generally, if I don't use return, what will happen is this function allocates memory. It will do some functionality. After doing the functionality, the memory is destroyed. Whatever memory allocated for the function is destroyed. Now see what we are doing. We are using return keyword. What is the meaning of return keyword? Already we discussed it so many times. Return means it will terminate the compiler. We learned break and return. Na? Break means it will stop the block but still continues in the function. But what is return? Return is it terminates the compiling. That means it stops. Now the point is it stops before it reaches end. This is end na? That is end. Before reaching the end, it will stop. Actually, if you don't use this return, what will happen? It will stop here. When it stops there, what will happen? The memory allocated for that function is deleted. That means when this happens, the memory allocated for function will be deleted. But before reaching here, it will stop. What does that means? The memory is not deleted. The memory is not deleted. Do you know what will happen? The memory is not deleted. And by which name memory is allocated? By the function name. In that memory, this value can be stored. If I don't use return, then memory is destroyed. The value is also destroyed. But if I use return, before reaching end, what it will do? It will stop. Before reaching end, if it stops, then what will happen? The memory is not destroyed. Memory is still available. And what will happen? This value is stored in this memory. That means now function will work in two ways. It will work as a function and as a variable. Function will work as a function as well as variable. It will do the functionality and whatever result is there, it will store also. That means now you see here, suppose I am writing a function. So here function addition. In the two parameters A and B I am giving, and I want to calculate A plus B. I want to calculate A plus B and store in some memory. Then what we do, we allocate another memory C is equal to A plus B. That means now one extra memory is allocated. Extra memory is which one? C. In that memory, this result is stored. Now, if I want to access the result of C outside this function, is it possible? It is not possible because everything is function scope. Na? Everything is function scope. Can I access this in another function? Suppose I am creating another function called result. In this result function, I want to print that result. Document.write. Can I print the result? Addition is equal to. Can I print the value of C here? Not possible. You have to declare it as global variable. If I declare as global variable, then I can use it. But declaring global variable will make it available to all of them. In that case, what we have to do, we need to keep the variable inside. Whatever result comes, we must store, and we must able to use from another location. Now, without allocating extra memory, we can store the result of A plus B in the same function memory. How we can do that? Just by using the keyword return. When I use return, what will happen before it goes to end? It will stop, and whatever result happens, that result it will store in which memory? Addition. So addition is a function as well as a variable. That means the result of A plus B is stored under which reference? Addition. Now I want to print that here. That means I can access like this: addition into that past two values 20 and 40. Whatever functionality is there, it will perform. After that, the result of 20 plus 40 will be stored in addition. That means now addition is a variable. That variable contains 20 plus 40, and the result will be displayed. That means now you can see that. You can see it is able to return that result and display here. We need to call that result. Na? We will call the result. When I call the result, it will print that. That means what is the purpose of return keyword in a function? The return keyword, don't think return means returning value. Return means not returning value. Many times people think return means returning value. It is not returning value. Return is a jump statement. Return is always a jump statement. It is not returning value. Now, what is the purpose of return in a function is it will stop the function and it will not allow the function to lose its memory. That means it will keep the function memory. It will keep the function memory, and that function memory stores the result of A plus B. If I don't use return, what will happen? The memory allocated for function is deleted. The memory allocated for the function is deleted, right? So instead of that, what we are doing, we are storing the result of A plus B inside this. That is the purpose of a function with a return. So without using any additional memory, we can use the function memory to store the result. What is advantage of that? You can access that globally. From anywhere you can access and you can use, because it is present in the function itself. Na? The result is present in the function itself, so you can access anything. So what is the main purpose of a function with a return? The function with a return is keep the memory alive so that it can store the value of function. So that means actually So here what happens? Name is equal to value. Name is equal to value. That means whatever value is returned, it will store. And what can be the return value? So a function can return any type of value. Any type of value. That means it can return a primitive type. It can return a non-primitive type. Non-primitive type. It can return any. That means a number or a string or a boolean or any array or object. It can return anything. So it can be any type of return. For example, I will give an example here. This is example. It is returning, this edition is currently returning what? Which data type? Which data type it is returning? Number type. Addition A plus B is number, na? If it can return any type, it can be a string, it can be an array, it can be a boolean. For example, you see here, I'm using function, some hello. It is expecting username and age. Now what it should return? It should return a string. So hello, username, and here it should print your age is and whatever age. That's how we are defining. That means now we can just document dot write. What is the function? Hello. Into that hello function, 2 parameters we are passing. So, and automatically it is going to take these 2 parameters and it is going to return this message, store that message in which reference? Hello. That means it is going to print that message and display. It is returning a number. It can return any complex data. That means even it can return, function can return an array. Can return an array. For example, you see here we are having a function, and the function have products. This products function is returning an array. It is returning an array. Array of anything, array of string, array of object. Suppose we have name and we have price. It is printing this. Means it is having this. So name and we have mobile and we have price. So a function is returning an array now. That means what is the type of function? Function type is array. Now can you tell me how to print the elements in this array? Just what we have to do? We have to use products. Products is a function, but that function is returning array. In that case, we have a map. We have a map. And in that, we will read every map a callback function. We will read every product and we will print document dot write. We are printing here product dot name and we are printing here product dot price and a break, line break. And you can see it is going to access the products and print those details. Here it is price. Okay, spelling. It is going to print them and display. That means a function can return any kind of content. It can be object, it can be array. Generally, what we do is whenever we are dealing with some data, whatever data we collect, that data we need to store in some place so that we can access and use it. Instead of allocating a separate memory, we can use the function memory. Generally, to store the result, every time we need a separate memory. Instead of allocating separate memory, we can use the same function memory, so that the memory allocated for function, the operations are performed in that function, the results also stored in the same function memory. Usually, if you don't use return, what will happen? The memory allocated for function will be destroyed. Then values present in the functions are deleted. Then you want to access those function values from any another place, it's not possible. That is the way how we can store the values and we can use. You can use. So a function can return anything. This is one point. Here the question is, can a function have multiple returns? That means, can we write more than one return in a function? We can have multiple returns. Situation wise, it can change its return. Situation wise, it can change the return. A function can have multiple returns. That means you see here, it can have multiple returns. Multiple returns means depending on what you pass, depending on what you pass. Suppose here, I will use one simple option as a question here is, so one or multiple. That's what I am giving. That's a parameter name. That means you want one product or multiple product. Then what we will do is, here we can write a condition. If one or multiple, so one or multiple is a value. If it is equal to 1, what should happen? If it is equal to 1, what should happen? It should return only one object. It should return only one object. Only one object must be returned. It should return only one object. That means now, what is it? Name, suppose shirt, and price, and some price. It should return only one object. Otherwise, it should return multiple objects. It should return multiple. That means now a function have two returns. That is depending on condition. So that means, so we will ask here what they want to return. Temporarily, I will ask here. That means products. Into the products function, we will ask a prompt. Here I will say enter 1 or asterisk. Asterisk is for many and for 1. That is the message we are giving. Now what should happen is, into that we are passing. That means what it is going to do? It is going to verify, is it 1 or is it this? And what should happen now? What is the result of this now? What is present in that products? That depends on what you enter. If you enter 1, it contains one object. If it contains asterisk, it contains multiple. That means now what we will do temporarily, see what I am doing here temporarily. I am using console.log. I am printing whatever returned here. Observe carefully now. So here, let's inspect. We can print directly document.write, or we can just print like this. Suppose you see in the console, I will refresh. It is asking 1 or asterisk. I entered 1. Then okay, then it will return first one. Only one object will come. It is returning only one object. Only one object it is returning. Now I will put here as asterisk. When I put asterisk and okay, then it is returning 2. That means now the function is changing itself depending on the situation. That means in one situation, it is returning one value. In another situation, it is returning multiple. That means we created a function which can change what it returns. That's what actually you see API fake store / products. It is returning all products. Products /1, it will return only specific product. That /1 is what parameter. If you pass one parameter, it will return one product. Like this is depending on the situation, we can change. So if anybody asks, can a function change its return? Can a function have multiple returns? It can have multiple returns, but it will not return all at a time. It will use a mechanism called conditional rendering. Conditional rendering means situation wise. If condition is matching, it will return one value. If it is not matching, it will return another. That is what actually how it is going to manage. This is another example. So multiple return. So this is multiple return. That means now function have two different returns. So based on the value you pass, it will return one or it will return many. That is the basic how we can manage. Right. This is a simple concept of function with returns. These are all very important topics. So function, rest parameters, spread syntax, another one return. How the function can use a return. What is the necessity of return and how it can return. Next important, another one is asked is function closure. These are all advanced in JavaScript, people ask in questions. What is a function closure? Actually, closure in the beginning itself, I told you. So while learning about variables, one more point we will see here. Actually, closure is nothing but, so closure is a mechanism of configuring scope so that the members of outer function are accessible to inner function. That scope is called closure. By default, every function have a closure. It's not a separate concept. Every function scope is a closure scope. Closure scope means anything defined in a function is accessible to inner function. Generally, people don't know all this. They think that it is a new concept, a separate concept, but it is not a new or separate concept. Every function have a scope which is called as a closure. What is the nature of closure scope is, in the closure scope, what is present in outer function is accessible to its inner. By default, it is accessible. That is what closure. But in interviews, how they ask is, they ask that, okay, in closure, outer values are accessible to inner. How inner values are accessible to outer? That is extra they ask. So closure means every function have a closure by default. Every function is having a closure. That means, for example, see here, every function is having a closure means, suppose we are writing a function outer. In this outer function where x is equal to some 10, we are writing a function inner. That means inside that function, another function is there. Here we are having y is equal to 20. Now what we are doing where z is equal to x plus y. Now the question is x accessible inside this function? X is not declared here. X is declared in the outer function. Is it accessible inside the function? Yes, it is accessible. That is the closure mechanism. Closure mechanism, you declare a variable in outer, it is accessible inside inner. Now I want to print result here. That means document dot write. I want to print result here. That means I want to print the values. That means X, I want to print result. Result is, Z is equal to the value of Z. Can I access the value of Z here? It's not accessible. The values of inner function are not accessible to outer, because even you declare var or let or const, var let const, let and const are block scope and var is function scope. Function scope means only this function. Function scope means only in that function. Is it accessible to outer function? No. That means closure is a mechanism where outer function values are accessible to inner, but inner are not accessible to outer. Now, how we can access the value of Z here? How you can access the value of Z in outside and use it? It's very simple. What we will do is we will make this inner to return Z. When you make the inner to return Z, that means the Z will be stored in reference of inner. That inner you can access here now. Am I right? This is the mechanism of closure. The inner is accessible here. That means the result of the inner function can be stored and it can be accessed in outer function. If you can do that, that is the closure. Now you see I'm accessing outer. It is going to print the result of that. It is going to print the result 30. But Z is not a value present inside outer function. It is inside inner function. How you make it accessible outside? That you can handle by using which mechanism? That you can handle by using this return. So what is a closure? This is not closure. Closure is already finished in first line only. Many people don't know this. They think closure means some complicated concept which we have to by heart and remember. That's all not there. That is very much confusion among all people, right? It's a very simple, straightforward concept. In JavaScript, closure values of outer function are default accessible to inner. Then in interview, why they ask so much about that? Because their intention is to make you understand, able to access the values of inner in outer. Right? By using this technique, the closures are there. Then how to get value outside the closure and use outside the closure. These kind of techniques we need to implement. So what is the closure mechanism? So configuring scope so that the member of outer function are accessible to inner function. So actually closure will not allow the outer function to access members of inner function. So you can implement function return and access the members outside closure. The members outside closure. That is what actually the point. So that is a function closure. So this is example how the function closure works. This is an example. This is an example for function closure. Means how it is going to work, the outer and inner, how it is going to access the inner and all, right? That is one closure mechanism. Next important, these are all advanced concept of JavaScript. That's what people call, but we professionally don't call. Some people have typical mindset. For those people, if you don't put heading advanced JavaScript, they will tell that, sir, you are not teaching advanced JavaScript. Such sick-minded people will be there. So for such people, we have to put a heading. This is advanced JavaScript, right? We have to kick them and tell that this is advanced. Remember, right? Generally, if we teach JavaScript, in that everything will be there. Some people will be sleeping in the class. Some people will be attending rarely, right? They are not regular, and their mindset is freezed. For such people, at the end, they say, sir, you are not teaching advanced JavaScript. What is advanced JavaScript? Right? There is no advanced JavaScript. Don't invent new technology. JavaScript means everything JavaScript. In that, basic topics will be there, advanced topics will be there. Nobody need to highlight that this is advanced. That people do who don't teach everything in JavaScript. People who don't teach in everything in JavaScript, to highlight themselves, at the end they will say, we are teaching you advanced JavaScript. What is advanced JavaScript? Teach everything in JavaScript, that is full A to Z. That is complete JavaScript, right? Because such people still exist in this world. That is the reason for those people, we will tell that these are advanced topics. So don't get confused and don't think that you are not learning advanced concepts. Everything is advanced. That means from variable onwards, we learned so many advanced concepts, right? From operator onwards, we learned so many advanced concepts, right? These are all, we don't need to put a label or a heading advanced JavaScript, right? In JavaScript, these all will come. This includes both basic as well as advanced concept, right? So that is, you should not talk as advanced, because JavaScript, everything in JavaScript, that's important, right? So function have function closures. So what is a closure mechanism? Closure is a mechanism where the members of outer are accessible to inner by default, but inner are not accessible to outer. We can make it possible. There is another point here. We have function generator. We have function generators, function closures and function generator. Actually, function generator is nothing but, so usually, so a generator returns a value. A generator actually returns a value. A generator returns a value by using yield operator. By using yield operator. So technically speaking, is a generator will not return value. It yields value. A generator will not return value, it yields value. And the question is, where these generators are used? Actually, generator functions are used in iterators. They are used in iterators. Generator functions are used in iterators. What is a iterator? Iterator already we learned, na? Iterator is a pattern Pattern where elements from a collection are accessed in sequential order. They are accessed in sequential order. Elements in a collection are accessed in sequential order. They are accessed in sequential order. That is what iterator pattern is. Now I told you, if you remember, difference between loop and iterator. What is difference between loop and iterator? Loop have a initialization, loop have a condition, and loop have a counter. Now the question is, we used iterator like map, we use iterator like for in, for off, we use it like for each. The question is how they are moving to next without increment. They are reading first value. How they are reading the first value? How they are moving to next? How they are stopping automatically? Are we giving any dot length? We are not giving any dot length. You used map function. What map function is doing? Map function is reading from first value until end. How it knows it ends? How it knows that there is no more value? This is all managed internally by a generator. It is managed by a generator. Actually, you should know that generally a generator function comprises of value, and it comprises of next, and it comprises of done. Right? Three important things will be there: the value, the next, and done. What value can do is, value, it can read and return value in collection. It can read and return value in collection. What next can do is, it can move to next value. After reading current, after reading the current value, it will move to next value. How it knows there is next value? Done will tell. That means done, it returns true if there is no value. Done returns true if there is no value. That means if there are no more values, that is better. If done returns false, what does it means? If done return false, it means that there are more values. Then next will execute. The next will get the next value. Until which moment next will execute? Until done is true. That means in the background of every iterator, a generator is working. This is not required for you every time. This is required for building libraries and all. So very experienced people in JavaScript, while working with building libraries and all, creating their own maps and all, they can try this. They can use this. Actually, these are related to library, right? So what is value? It returns the value. What is next? It will return the next value. It will move to next. How it knows there is some more value or not? By using done. You observe here how it works. Actually, how the function generator is created. Function generator is created like this. We have to use function, and asterisk should be there, and a name. That's what we need to define. And it yield value, not return value. It is yielding value, yield value. Value 1, value 2, it can yield the values and return. It will yield the values and return, yielding the value, not returning the value. Now, what is this asterisk means? You know the meaning. What is asterisk means? It is a meta character, na? What is the meaning of asterisk meta character? What is the meaning of asterisk meta character? Question mark means? Question mark means 0 or 1. Asterisk means 0 or many. 0 or more. We learned asterisk meta characters. That means what does it means? That execute the function 0 times or more times. If there is no value, function will execute 0 times. If there are more values, so it will execute how many times values are there, those number of times. It's not one time, it can be many, because values can be many. If there are no values, it will not execute. A function generator is defined with asterisk, which tells the compiler that execute this only when there are values. And execute how many number of times? Until the values end, many times. It can be one time or many time or 0 time or many times. That is a function generator, how we use function generator. And generally, what this function generator returns, right? I will show you. Let's see. Here, I am writing a function generator. Suppose I am defining function asterisk, and I am giving the function generator have values like I am giving some sales. Like this I am giving. Sales is a collection, and this collection yield. Suppose 1000 is one value, or simply 10 is one value, yield 20 is another value, yield 30. This is a collection. Collection can contain any type of value. It can be a string or a number or a boolean or any kind of value. A collection means anything, it can be there. That means under sales, how many values are there? 3. Now, generally, how map works? Map is going to read every value and print it. Observe carefully now how I am doing here. Console.log. I will use sales. Sales is a generator. You see, it is a generator. Generator have one important option is next. Generator is having next. What this next will do? You can observe what this next is going to return. See, I will refresh. It will return first value. After returning first value, done is false. Done is false means there is more values. There are more values. Done is false means there are more values. That means you can see this is the value. Done is false and the value is 10. That means it is an object. It is returning. So I will put here +/n. In the next line, I am printing again sales dot next. Sales dot next I am using. That means in the next line, you can see it is reading the 2 objects now. It is reading 2 objects. First object, second object. If you want to print those 2 objects, that means first object dot value and the second object dot value. That means it is going to read those 2 values here, 10, 10. So it is what? It should return the second value. I am using plus here. Let's put the expression. Expression we will keep. Expression is what? Console.log. In that, what is the first value to print here? Sales. Sales of what? Next. This is printing the next. This is the object it is printing. So sales dot next, and it is having a value that is 10. And in the next line, We will access sales dot what next dot what value. That means again slash n, another again we have sales dot next, and we have value, and it is going to return those values here. Oh, it is returning only 10. So it should return all these three values. What is problem? The value, this is also value. First value is only coming up. It should return the second value. Let me check why it is failed. Sales is returning an object. It is a generator. It is returning this object. It should display the value. I will use console.log sales dot next. It is returning the first value. It is returning same. It should return the second one. Why it is returning only same? It is yielding console.log sales dot what next. Uh, slash n again sales dot next. Two objects dot value. Here also dot value. Some issue is there. The generator function. It should return all the three values. Next is a function. Hmm? What? What it is? Why? Not YIELD. Yeah? Hmm? But it is returning now. Hmm. Then no, that is not the problem. Problem is overwriting. Result is overriding. That is the problem. That is not the issue. It is overriding the issue because of printing in new line. I will check that. That is what the problem it is. It is accessing the same one actually. That is means it is using. It is just overriding us. Once I will see. It should come with this simple. There is nothing complex. Somewhere it is going wrong. The first value is a type. I will do one thing in an array. Same it is doing. Three same values are coming. Sales is yielding 10, 20, 30. It is returning 0. This is a generator. It is an iterator result. It is returning all of them. This next itself is having 3. I will do one thing. It is an area. We will use that multiple values. It is returning value. Next, have an iterator result. Iterator result means Means this generally works. There is no problem actually. This is generally it should work, right? So somewhere it's not a function. This is done and values are coming. Item is returning done and value. Somewhere terminator issues also is there. Hmm? We can do that. Without that also it should work, because we generally do now, right? We generally access that. Directly it should return the result. But if it is not directly returning the result, because the result is an iterator, that means obj is equal to sales. It is a generator. Console.log obj dot next. It will return the value obj dot next. To objects dot value is returning these two. Another one is /n. What is it? Obj dot next. It is returning all the third value. Value is value. It is displaying these three values. Actually, without that also it should come. Because somewhere issue is there, I will check once. Without that also it comes, because usually what you are doing, you are storing this in a variable. Already this is having values. These values can be accessed. Already you got the first value now, right? Only the point is some iterator function is missing. I will check once, right? Any alternative we can try, we can use it. Because when you declare in this variable, all these values are stored under the reference of variable. You can directly access it. We can directly access, we can directly use it. But this is nothing but so simply storing all in one iterator function object and accessing them. Directly why it is failing, I will once check, right? I will show you that. Generally, what is the point? These values, it can access in a sequential order and return. How it knows there is next value or not? By using another concept. What is that concept? Done. That means, for example, here I am adding, if it is a console log in this way, suppose we are adding console.log, I will put a binding expression. Here what we have to do, obj dot next dot value. After that, here we will add obj dot next dot done. So that means what done have to do? The same thing I am adding 3 times. Then what this done have to do? The done have to return false, true, true it is returning. Right? It should, I am reading suppose second value. That means it is returning false and true. Right? The second value is missing here. That means it is unable to access the second value, because what happens is when you use this next, automatically it will finish the second one also, and it will directly go to which one? Third. After third, is there any value? There is no more value. There is no man. That means if you don't use the next, what will happen? If you don't use the word next, it is going to read the next value. If you use the next, it will remove it. That means after reading, the next value is removed. So that means what is the last value we have? So obj dot next, and here we are using value. That means it will read all those 3 values. Suppose I am using, instead of value, I am using the word done. That means what done have to return? So 3 values I am using done. That means what done have to return? First one is false, false, false. Now after this, is there any more value? There is no more value. There are how many values? Only 3. Then what should this done returns true? That means from the 4th place, there is no more value. When done returns true, it will stop. That means how developers write the code. So here he will write a condition. What is that? If done is equal to true, then stop, right? Here, what is the key point is how any map or how any iterator can read the values from a collection in sequential order without using any conditions. What is the logic behind that? The logic behind that is what? It is using a generator, and that generator contains 2 important properties. What are those? Done and value. Value will return the value. Done will verify is there any value to read. One more option is next. Next will proceed to the next. So syntactically, how we define? So you can write like this. That means we create an obj is equal to name, and here obj dot next, and we have value. What it will do is return first value. Similarly, obj dot next dot value. That means it will return second value. Like this, we can read the values. So obj dot next dot done. That means it will return true. Return true if there is no value. That's how it is going to work. Actually, directly without storing in any reference, we can access it. So without storing in any reference also, we can manage. But for that, we need some iterations additionally. I will see that. That means for each or map or some other iteration, we will try, so that without that reference also, we can easily access. So this is an example for that. This is an example. Let me copy this and paste. That is the example for that reference. So function generator contains a collection, and you can access that collection. For example, if the collection is, see, suppose the collection, we are reading all the done options here. Instead of done, what is the point here? We use a value. We are using a value here. That means it is going to return the value and display those values there. Here, suppose I am having, this is 10, and suppose this is an array. Array contains some values like TV, like mobile, something like values. And this contains an object like some rate is equal to 4.2. So the count is suppose 4,500, like this. That means it is yielding different types of values. It will display that. You can handle different types of values. And the last one is what? It is an object. Object contains options like what? Rate and count, like values. Then it can access and display them. That means a collection can contain any kind of value. It can yield any type of value. So if anyone asks what is this yield, it is a special operator which will return the value as a result of iteration. As a result of iteration, any value is not returned. Actually, any value is yield, right? Yield is a special operator which is going to give the value as a result of any iteration, right? That means, for example, you are writing like this: for var item of collection. That means what item contains? It contains the yield of collection. Yield of collection. That means in collection, whatever the first value is there, it will read that first value. After reading the first value, how it will proceed to next? By using a method called next. How it knows to proceed to next? There is an operator called done. It will verify true or false. If done is false, there is more value you can read. If done is true, that means there are no more values. So without a condition, without counter, without initialization, they are performing these iterations because of a concept called generator. A generator can return any type of collection. You can handle any type of collection and access it, right? This is a basic example of function generators. How we can work with function generator. So many advanced topics are there. Function return, function closure, function generators. Another important that we will see in next session tomorrow, we have function callback and function promise. Already we learned one promise. Which one? We learned already one promise. Fetch. We used fetch. Fetch is called as a promise. And what is difference between a callback and a promise? What are callbacks? What are promises? That we will see tomorrow. Right? In tomorrow session, we will finish all the function part. Then we will go into OOP concepts, object-oriented programming, how it works. That then tomorrow will continue, right?